Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here. Today we're going to be doing a throwback video. Alright guys, so not too long ago I did a contest where you guys were supposed to guess what the first trick was that I ever released. And in this video we're going to talk about that trick. That is Tour de Force, my Triumph effect. Now, before I show you guys this trick, let's go ahead and take a look at the original trailer. This is the first magic trailer that I ever put out through Theory 11's The Wire. You can tell how old this is. This was back before it was called The Marketplace, and back when it was called The Wire. It was the first platform I ever released, my first ever download, and it was this one right here. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Michael O'Brien, and this is Tour de Force. It is an in-the-hands Triumph that has been streamlined and perfected so that it is easy to perform. Each move is clean, extremely natural, and virtually undetectable. Let's take a look. In this video, I will be showing you my handling of the in-the-hands Triumph, as well as a multiple card variation using the same method. Let's get started.
Man, I lost, well, not lost a lot of weight, gained a lot of weight now. I look skinny in that video, right? That video was shot in 2014. That was about 6 years ago that I released my first ever product to the world, Tour de Force. Now in the original video, I released it on Theory 11's The Wire, and it taught two techniques. It taught the basic, well, technically three techniques. It taught the basic Tour de Force Triumph using the gimmick, the impromptu variation without a gimmick, and then how to do the same thing with multiple cards, which I called Tour de Four Ace, which was like a 4-ace reveal variation of the effect. And the idea was to perform a Triumph with no table. Now, up until this point, I have already been performing J.C. Wagner's Upstanding Triumph, which essentially looks something like this, right? So you have a card selected. Let's just say in this case it's the 10 of hearts, right? And you perform a couple of controls, shuffles, whatever you want to do, right? Now, I'm going to try to see if I could find your card. It wasn't this one. No, sorry, hold on. It wasn't that one either, right? The 6 of hearts? No. How about that one, the jacket? No, it wasn't that one either. Okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and shuffle a card so half the cards are face up and half the cards are face down. Right? So now, during all of that process, essentially what I was doing was setting up the deck to be able to perform a Faro Shuffle that creates the illusion that you're shuffling half the cards face up and half the cards face down. Now, obviously, you're not really doing that. It's just an illusion, so that later you can show all the cards are facing the same way, right? Except for one card that's facing the opposite direction, and it's the spectator's selected card. What Tour de Force did was it took all of that mucky muck, all of that stuff at the very beginning, and essentially streamlined it so all that stuff is gone, right? So now you take a card like the 9 of hearts, place it into the deck, no gaps, no breaks. The card truly is lost, right? Somewhere in the middle of the deck. I have no idea where. And that's it. So the setup is exactly the same, but the method to getting there is completely different. Now from that point, what we're going to do is actually perform the Faro Shuffle, right? Now this is going to use the Larry Jennings Bill Goodwin display, right? So the display looks like this. I'm going to shuffle everything together. You can show both halves like this, and you can even riffle through this way, and you can show both halves of the deck truly are getting shuffled face up into face down. Now this is a really convincing way to show that the deck is getting properly shuffled. Now it's not, again. It's just an illusion, right? And then J.C. Wagner has his own little display, right? I'm going to try to do this for the camera, where you can show that the deck is indeed all mixed up, right? We have face up cards, face down cards, right? Some cards are back to back, some cards are face to face. Now, doing the J.C. Wagner display, we also are able to correct any mistakes in the deck so that now we can perform the Triumph bit, show that all the cards are facing the same way, and here is the spectator selected card. Now, this is using a completely ordinary deck. There is not a single gimmick in here at all. I teach a gimmicked version of this where you add a single gimmicked card in here to make it a little easier to perform. That way you don't have to hold any breaks, because spoiler alert, when I say I'm not holding any gaps or breaks, I am holding a break. I'm just doing so in a very sneaky way, right? So there are gaps and breaks involved, but it doesn't look that way to the spectator. And saying that I'm not, you know, holding any gaps or breaks. I usually say that when I'm performing this for magicians, and they go, oh wow, he's not holding any gaps or breaks, is he there? I am. But yeah, so I came out with the second variation on this, which is a project that I like to call Tour de Force, the Complete Edition, that I released on DVD 1 year later. And David Bonfadini, a great friend of mine, helped me produce this project. Essentially what it was I took that exact same idea, upgraded it just a little bit, and then added some other variations to it as well. So we had the basic variation, the impromptu variation, and the 4-card variation. Those variations were already taught in the original Tour de Force video. Added then was a sandwiching variation, a collector's plot variation, a tabletop shuffled variation, a variation that ends with the deck in new deck order, and some bonus ideas using like my deck switching holdout, my switcheroo gimmick, and all that stuff. So I took that project to the next level and released Tour de Force, the Complete Edition. It was about a 45-minute video just going over this Triumph and all of the ideas that I've come up with using it over the years. So it's a really interesting project. And then last but not least, I very recently re-released Tour de Force again in my Penguin Live act. Again, using the impromptu method, but tweaking it even more to be able to perform it even smoother. So over the years, I've been performing this Triumph for like 8 or 9 years. Now, I said I released it in 2014, but I had been performing it for a little while before that. So over the years, even when I thought that this was finished, it turns out it wasn't, and I had some other ideas for it. So I taught those bonus ideas in the Penguin Live act. So if you guys want, you are welcome to check out. If you enjoyed this Triumph effect, you guys are welcome to check out any of those products, I guess I could say. You can check out the download to get the Complete Edition video, or you can check out the Penguin Live act and download that from Penguin Magic. I'll leave the links to all this stuff in the comments below, and I'll also link to a couple of other performance videos so you guys can see it performed live and in action. Because what I like to do with this Triumph specifically is try to have it be in the spectator's hands as much as possible. So like, for example, that moment when I'm shuffling half the cards face up and half the cards face down, right? And I show this all around. I hand it to the spectator and I tell them to square it up, and the spectator squares it up for me, right? And then when I'm doing the display here, where I'm showing some mixed up face up cards and face down cards, I turn the deck face down and then I put it back into the spectator's hands, and then I perform the correction bit at the end while the spectator's holding it. I snap my fingers and I say, go ahead and start looking through the cards, and they do it in their own hands, and then all the cards are face down except for the one that they chose. So it really is, in my opinion, and I might be biased, but it really is, in my opinion, the cleanest in the hands triumph you're really ever going to learn. So if you guys wanted to learn a triumph effect, I highly recommend checking out my method, Tour de Force. Play with it. If you come up with some of your own ideas, I'd love to see them. Don't be shy. Feel free to post a video here on YouTube and drop a link to it in the comments below, or you can shoot me an email and I will go and check that out. But anyways, congratulations to whoever it was that won the Tour de Force contest. You guys are awesome sauce, and be sure to check out more videos. I'll do some more throwback videos for you guys, either on products that I've created, or maybe we'll watch videos of when I first got into magic and stuff like that. I don't know, we'll make it fun. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care.
Next up is Tour de Force by Michael O'Brien. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Michael O'Brien is actually Conan O'Brien's twin brother. And I just made that up as well. That's not true either. But this is a beautiful effect. It's a very well produced video by Michael O'Brien, who has a very fancy hat, I must say. The effect is based on the classic Triumph plot. You take half the cards that are face up, half the cards are face down. You shuffle the two together very fairly, and after a series of events, you make order out of chaos, and you make all of the cards return to being face up, except for one card, which is the spectator's selected card. It's a very powerful plot in Magic. This is a beautiful, simple handling of that effect. It all happens in the hands. It's a very well produced video, so I definitely recommend checking that out. It's called Tour de Force by Michael O'Brien.